Hi, everybody. Welcome to Talking Disney podcast, where we talk about the Disney canon classic films. And this month, we are talking about the film The Aristocats, the 20th animated classic from Walt Disney Animation Studios. Now, I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Stanford is here.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm hanging in there. It's been quite a week for me.
Yes, it has. I'm so glad you're doing okay.
Yeah, I've gotten some good doctors, some good treatment, and so I feel very blessed, and it's a nice break from all of that to just watch a Disney movie and enjoy and talk to you about it, and because it's been certainly nothing I could have predicted, that's for sure.
Oh, seriously, Rachel.
Yeah.
So glad you're okay.
Thanks. Okay, yes, but how have you been this week?
Hey, I'm doing well. I am going absolutely stir crazy.
No.
But I am doing my part and doing my social distancing, and I'm, healthy, and, I'm with you. I feel grateful. I just feel grateful. So
that's the only way we can kind of get through it, is to, I don't know, just try to be as positive as possible.
That's right.
But it's hard.
It's hard, and thank goodness for movies. Thank goodness for Disney Plus.
Oh.
It's been like the gift. I've been having fun with my family a couple nights a week.
Yeah.
We're kind of spread out across the country. We'll watch.
Yeah.
Just with select family members, we'll pick a movie to watch on Disney Plus, and we just press play at the same time, and then we just text or whatever, and then maybe chat a little bit afterwards. Mm-hmm. But even that's been comforting.
Yeah.
As strange as it sounds, we're not together in person, but we kind of are together.
Yeah.
At least they feel like, we're all watching the same thing. And it's almost like we're watching it together.
Yeah. We did that with Coco a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Maybe even
really
a month ago. And it was comforting.
Yeah.
Especially that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a good movie. It's so good. But this month, we got the Aristocats, the random number generator.
Yes.
It's the Aristocats. And this is an interesting movie, and we're going to talk a lot about at the end some of the different comments from Twitter, because this is a pretty divisive movie. It seems like people have a huge amount of nostalgia for it, and I don't know, maybe was it something that was played a lot on the Disney Channel, or I don't know. It just seems like there's some people have an inordinate amount of nostalgia for this movie.
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
I remember really liking this film as a child.
Yeah.
I think part of it is just the aesthetic.
Yeah.
The character designs again are great, and France. There's there's fun music. I have very different feelings about it as an adult. Yeah. So I'm really excited to talk with you about it.
Yes. And I think maybe it might be partly the fact that it's one of the only animated films about cats.
Yeah.
There's Oliver and Company, but even from other studios.
Which was decades later, almost 2 decades. Yeah.
And there's just very few live action or animated movies about cats. It's mostly about dogs. A boy and his dog movies. How often do you hear about a boy and a cat movie?
Yeah.
Not very much.
Like never. There's some of those live action comedies. There's The Cat from Outer Space.
Yeah, that darn cat. Yeah. Yeah. And
a little different in tone.
Yeah. And there's things like, a lot of times the cats are the villains, like in Babe, for instance.
Lady and the Tramp.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I think in Babe it says something to the effect of, there are many nice, kind cats in the world. And then there's like, this is not one of them. She's like,
Exactly.
We ever wanted to do a bonus, I would do Babe. I love Babe so much.
Yeah, Babe is so good.
That would be a fun one. But
it would be fun.
But there's just not that many there's not that many films about cats, and this is probably one of the cutest as far as the designs of the cats.
Right. I was gonna say visually it's so appealing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, kittens. Hello, puppies and kittens are a win, like in anywhere. And these 3 kittens in particular,
are really cute. Yeah.
Are super cute.
Yeah.
Marie, the cat, the white female, the one with the white fur. She's a hugely popular Disney character in Japan.
Oh,
I remember I went to Tokyo Disneyland. This was a few years ago, but I mean, there was almost more Marie merchandise at Tokyo Disneyland than there was Mickey Mouse. It was so weird. It's like, what is happening here?
If they were gonna have characters in the France pavilion, I mean, I feel kind of bad because they've got these cats, which look kind of weird in character.
The walk around characters are weird.
Yeah,
like the walk around Marie.
Yes, exactly. And then they have Ratatouille, which those look really weird.
That's right.
Walk around.
Cats and rats walk around characters.
Yeah. But yeah, I was actually just talking to my sister, and she was saying how this whole sketch era is if not her favorite artistic style from Disney. She was saying she loves Robin Hood, she loves Jungle Book, she loves Winnie the Pooh is great. It has this Hannah and Dalmatians, which I think is the highlight of the era, personally. Although I also love Winnie the Pooh, it's a really interesting era that probably doesn't get enough respect from Disney, because they definitely, especially at the time, kind of saw it as a clearance thing. It didn't have the artistry of the golden era or the best of the silver era and this bronze era, that it didn't have. It just wasn't the same as your Bambis and your things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is an interesting movie because it was released in 1970, and it was the last film that was approved by Walt Disney before he died, so he because it went from like person to person to person, and originally it was going to be a TV movie, and in live action, but then he died in 1966, and it took 4 years to be made, but it does kind of have that's the last one that they were to release that he had any involvement in.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, and I've often wondered how the film would be different if Walt were alive during the production.
Yeah.
I would hope that it would, the story would have they would have possibly made some changes to the storyline.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the last film that the Sherman Brothers worked on.
I think that's right. Yeah, the last animated film. Yeah, the Sherman Brothers at Disney. Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess they were not happy with how things were being run at the time.
Yeah, post Walt, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they left. They did all sorts of other stuff with other studios.
Yeah, I thought that they did it all. I actually didn't realize until watching it for this and doing the research that they only did the 2 songs.
Right.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that. So they just did the opening song and the scales and arpeggios song.
Yeah. It was a different songwriting duo that wrote "Everybody Wants to Be a Cat," right? That's correct, isn't it? Yeah.
Terry Gilkson did Thomas O'Malley Cat. And then Everybody Wants to Be a Cat was composed by Floyd Huddleston and Al Rinker.
Okay.
So they were able to, it sounds like they kind of pieced it together by some different people and they even, I guess they used some already written songs as well. And they had some songs that they didn't end up using, like Edgar originally had a song, which would have been interesting.
Yes, absolutely. I know. I've wondered what other songs the Sherman Brothers wrote for it. That didn't get used, or how that whole process worked.
Yeah. One thing that's interesting about this, and this is, I admit, a nitpick, but it's kind of interesting because later on in the movie, there's like a specific thing that, well, are Thomas and the Duchess gonna get married in order for the, and this like a thing? But if marriage exists in the world of the cats for this movie, which it does evidently, then what happened to Mr. Duchess?
See, I put that in my notes too. Rachel is like, we don't know why they don't have a father.
Yeah.
And there's no discussion about it. And I wish that they would. Maybe that's going to be Aristocats too. When the cheaples come back in vogue.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're little kittens, so it could have been more than a couple months.
I know, and there's no mention.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of funny.
It is kind of funny. I that's one thing it didn't cross my mind as a child. Rewatching these as an adult. Yeah. I sure wonder.
The problem with this movie, because there are good things about it, like we talked about the animation, we'll talk about the music, some other things, but the problem is I feel like it's so derivative of other better projects. Like, it's very derivative of 101 Dalmatians. It's very derivative of Lady and the Tramp. It's very derivative of Jungle Book. And so it just kind of feels, for somebody like us that sees all the Disney films and a lot of other films, it just feels kind of flat. Because everything that's good about it has been, I think, done better.
Yeah.
Except for maybe the fact that they're cats. That's really the only, everything else, you'll be like, oh, yeah, there's that, that's in the 101 Dalmatians, that's in Lady and the Tramp, that's in, and so I think that's what hurts it the most, more than the fact that none of the stuff is really bad. It's just, it's weak.
Yeah.
And unoriginal.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's flat too, as far as the story goes, and I felt too that they rely so heavily on the comedic, quote unquote comedic, because some of it's not necessarily that funny, but as an adult, those comedic action scenes, which work better in previous films. Yeah. Like, for example, even the Jungle Book, has some of those. They seem, I don't know, they seem to work better. In this movie, to me they almost seem like they're too long. It was like, wow, like how much are those two hound dogs gonna beat up on Edgar? On that windmill. I mean, that to me always seems like it's 20 minutes.
Yeah,
even though it's probably only like 5.
I mean, and Lafayette and Napoleon are just practically carbon copies of Jacques and Trusty from Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, and without as good a script, and so I don't know. It's just not, like, it's fine, but it's just not. It's not exciting, and so I think that's the biggest problem with this movie. I agree with what you're saying, and so it starts out with the the Madame is meeting with her attorney, Georges. And I actually like this whole sequence. I think it's kind of funny. kind of cute.
I think it's the setup is really cute. You know, the opening credits. They grabbed me immediately. I mean, I remember liking them as a kid. But it's Maurice Chevalier. You know, I mean, I think that is a win.
Yeah.
Get him to sing the song, and it's a super cute song. Yeah. Classic Sherman Brothers, you know.
And you get him out of retirement to sing it. Yeah. Is what they're saying.
I love that. And then I agree with you. I think just the setup with the, you know, that I love the chateau that the Madame lives in.
Yeah.
I just think it's so beautiful. So classic Parisian, you know, of the time period.
Yeah.
And that whole scene was George's funny. I mean, he's that would be fun. I thought it was funny animated. I thought it would be funny in live action too. You know, but it was really. I just like how they did it. I thought it worked for me.
Yeah, I agree. It was really cute. But then you have Edgar is listening in on eavesdropping on this writing of the will, and he gets super mad when she's going to give all of her possessions to the cats, and then he will get everything after the cats are gone. And the whole thing is just so stupid. It's I mean, it really is. Like she is basically giving the possessions to him. He's going to take care of the cats. Like the cats are not able to care for themselves. I mean, and right now he doesn't have it now, and so killing them now makes no sense. If when she dies, he can just not feed them. Like he can do whatever he wants. She's dead. She has no other relatives. Like the fact that he would try to kill them now makes no sense.
Yeah, amen. And he's so crazed about it so instantly. And the thing is, we don't really get to see Edgar really. I mean, we see him a little bit, just like when he's riding the horse and, you know, riding the bringing the carriage in, and the cat, and maybe he's irritated, but it just seems like he's just kind of like the nice butler. Yeah, we don't know what kind of, if he's always been cranky like this. But I agree with you. It's like, dude, what are you doing? This is so bizarre. Yeah.
I mean, when you compare, because you can have villains with nonsensical motivations.
Sure.
I mean, Cruella certainly does. I mean, the fact she wants to have 101 puppies to make coats is insane. That's really stupid. But she's so over the top that she sells it. And you also get just enough of her for most of the movie. It's oh my gosh, my brain. It's the two henchmen in one.
Yeah, Jasper and Horace and Jasper.
Yeah, that are the main like villain that they deal with. Because if you had Cruella the whole movie, it would be too much. It would be too exhausting. And so I think that that's because Edgar is he's just boring. There's nothing interesting about him.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
Yeah.
and for him to instantly turn so against the cats, it just seems just like it really kind of comes out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. And so basically this initial setup, you find out that you have Toulouse, who is a painter. You have Berlioz, who plays the piano, and you have Marie, who is the singer, and they do scales and arpeggios.
Which I love that sequence, actually. Because I just think
cute.
It's so cute because, again, cats playing the piano and cats painting. Come on, I mean, it's such a clever use of animation. The kid, you know, and that's just like Disney character animation at its greatest, you know, just because it's so adorable.
Yeah.
the way that the cats are anyway. I think that's one of the reasons. That's got to be one of the things that really sticks with people who like this film. You know.
Yeah, I think so.
Is this sequence?
I think so. I think it's really, really cute, and I feel like that song was on like a lot of those sing-along videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe the whole thing wasn't played, but that song was seen quite a bit. And so yeah, I think there's definitely an affection there, and the cats are really cute, and it's cute to see one of them painting and one of them and they end up getting drugged by
Edgar. Creme de la creme a la Edgar.
Yeah. And
that he's spiked.
Yes.
With like a whole bottle of sleeping pills.
Right. And he almost drinks some, and he's like, maybe not.
I know.
And then you also meet Lafayette and Napoleon and Lafayette. And you also meet Roquefort.
Roquefort, the little mouse, the little house mouse, who's voiced by Sterling Holloway. So that's always a win, I think, when you get Sterling Holloway in your film, you know.
Yeah.
I think I was like his voice.
It's almost, it makes some of his characters in the older films seem all the more like their villainy surprises you, because it's like, that's Winnie the Pooh's voice.
I know.
Why is he being a sinister snake or whatever?
He wants to eat Mowgli. Yeah.
But so it's interesting. Then and he's kind of like a sort of a detective kind of.
Well, I know, because he's got like his Sherlock Holmes clothing on for the second half of the film. When he first comes out to eat the creme de la creme a la Edgar, he's not dressed.
Right.
And so that kind of puzzles me. He puts on clothes for the second, you know, when he reappears.
Yeah.
And they're cute. I mean, he's got the cute little hat and the cape. But so he kind of is like the detective, but he helps later, you know. Yeah. He's important later in the film.
Yes. And so Edgar takes the cats that are asleep out into the country on his motorcycle that has a sidecar, and then he gets chased by Lafayette and Napoleon. So there's kind of that whole scene. And like I said, I think they are very similar to Jocks and Trusty for sure.
Yeah.
And so he leaves the cats by the river, and then they wake up and they realize where they are. And I don't feel like the Duchess is upset enough for finding out she's in the middle of nowhere, you know, like all alone with her kittens. I know,
right?
Like, she's not very upset. And I think like Pongo and Purdy feel way more upset. And the whole thing is way more traumatic.
Duchess is just like, she was like, we're fine, you're fine. You know? And I appreciate how she's trying to be calm, but also like, you are in the middle of nowhere, and you know. What is
like, just she's very like nonchalant about it. Like, she only really gets upset when Marie gets in the water. It seems like that's the only time she gets upset. And I that's probably partly because Ava Gabor is the voice, and that's just a very kind of genteel, sophisticated voice. But as a mother, you expect her to be a little more scared.
Right.
On. And but she's not. And so then they end up meeting. So then Roquefort ends up going to look for them. Like you said, he's got his detective suit on. And he seems more upset about it than the Duchess does.
I know.
To me. He's freaking out. And like, and that's when they meet Thomas O'Malley, the alley cat. And
Giuseppe Casey.
Yes. And you got Phil Harris voicing the role. And it's a pretty fun song. I feel like I don't think it's super memorable, but it's fun enough. I think the song.
Yeah, it's clever. And you know, I really like Phil Harris. Don't get me wrong. I think Phil Harris is just delightful, you know? But he is the same character.
Yeah.
Baloo and Thomas O'Malley and Little John, to me, are just like identical.
Exactly.
I mean, they all look different. I just think, I mean, good for him. He was just able to kind of be this one kind of persona.
Yeah.
And the animators did the rest, but that kind of cracks me up.
Yeah, I mean, even to the point of literally using some of the same animation.
I know. Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like the part of the problem with this movie is there's almost no conflict with the cats. I mean, they go from one spot to another spot to another spot, whereas like in 101 Dalmatians, them getting home is way more tense. Like just as one example. So in this movie, there's a scene where they get on the back of a truck to help them get home. And it's, aside from briefly Marie falling off and he's saving her, if you compare it to the scene in 100 Dalmatians where they're all covered with soot trying to get on the back of the train, there's no, I mean, the truck, there's no comparison. That scene is so much more tense. Every drop, glop, 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 you know, and showing the soot. And, you know, you see Cruella just kind of looking at them. No, nobody's looking for them. Nobody's trying to find them. Nobody is, I mean, so there's no sense of like conflict. It's literally just, well, they have to get home.
Yeah.
And
I agree with you, Rachel. There is no tension. And the only tension is for literally like a minute and a half when like those two times that Marie falls.
Yeah.
You know, Marie falls off the trestle, you know, into the water too. Mm-hmm. And then as well as that one where she falls off the truck, but she falls off the truck, but that's the way to get O'Malley back with them. But this other one is just like, and then you just, I mean, it's, you know, he's gonna save her. I mean, it happens so quickly, and it's just like, somebody, you know, put something on Marie so she stops falling.
I mean, there really is so much, like in 101 Dalmatians, they're super cold in the snow. Oh. What are they gonna eat? You know, they're there in the cows.
There's so much more tension and you know, it's a lot more suspense, you know.
Yeah.
In that, and then there's none of that in this.
Yeah, like you compare a character that's a minor character in 101 Dalmatians, Sergeant Tibbs, and the amount of conflict and things that he has to deal with is way more than anything you get in this movie.
Yeah. And I think that's clearly a big part of it, just feeling flat, you know, particularly when you're watching it through maybe some grown-up eyes that's seen more movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then Edgar decides to go back because he's left his hat and his umbrella. Like, this makes no sense. I mean, is his name?
Like, are you kidding me? You're going to go back and deal with those dogs again after you had, again, that thing that to me feels like 20 minutes, even though I'm sure it's not. But where they're chasing him
pretty long.
on that windmill, it goes on and on and on.
It's pretty long, and it doesn't make any sense. Is his name in the hat and umbrella? If it's not, and the hat and the umbrella are not near the cats. So it makes no sense that even if somebody were to find them, I mean, this is not a world that accepts anthropomorphized. At least it's not supposed to. But then they're like playing music. I don't know. It's confusing because there's no reason why he would expect the dogs to tell the humans that it's his hat and that he did it. You know, like it makes no sense why he would go back.
Agreed.
Yeah. It's very weird.
Yeah.
And I mean, if anything, I think that's his sidecar, isn't it? Like that seems like that would be more more telling than a hat.
More incriminating than the hat and the umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
And I do think that there's a scene where the cats, the kittens are there's like this presto breakfast scene where Thomas is trying to get breakfast, and you see them, they're like wiggling their noses, And that was pretty cute.
They're cute. Yeah, I mean, I think those kids are so cute. And I don't like cats, but I think that these kids are so cute.
Yeah. And then you meet Abigail and Amelia Gabel, and they're on a walking tour of France.
They're British geese. Now, I've got a story about Abigail and Amelia. So they're voiced by the British actresses Monica Evans and Carol Shelley.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's been a few months, but you know how much I love watching old movies on Turner Classic Movies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they showed the movie The Odd Couple,
mm-hmm.
which is based on that Neil Simon play, but it's with Walter Matthau and with Jack Lemmon.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the scenes in that movie is that the Walter Matthau character is trying to set up a double date with some women that live in their apartment building. And they're two British women. And they're the Pigeon sisters. And they are played by Monica Evans and Carol Shelley. And so there's this whole scene in this movie. This date goes horribly wrong. But they're just these kind of giggling Brits. And so I think that's why they were cast. Because
makes sense.
Because The Odd Couple had come out like a couple years earlier, I think, maybe 68 or something. I got to double check. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. Okay, so there's some kind of rhyme or reason to why they hired these two women. It's almost like they're reprising their role. They're playing geese instead of the Pigeon sisters.
Yeah,
yeah.
And they save O'Malley, thinking
From
they're
drowning.
teaching how to swim.
Yeah,
and that's amusing enough. That's fun. And this is where you get the you're either her husband or you are not.
Yeah,
like a scandal. They say
it's all scandalous with these British geese.
Yeah, they said obviously a philanderer who trifles in unsuspecting women's hearts. And then weird line. Then little Marie says, "How romantic." I'm like, what? What's that mean? That was weird. It was a weird moment.
Yeah.
But and so I don't know. Like we said, it's especially weird given there's no father for these kittens.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Duchess is kind of fast and loose. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. But they all seem very unaffected by it. So, yeah.
Yes.
Whatever.
And they end up at the Le Petit Cafe, and they meet Uncle Waldo.
Uncle Waldo, which to me is like kind of one of the more bizarre characters of the whole film, because honestly, he doesn't have anything to do with the plot, does he?
No. Like, this is the weird part of early Disney. You don't see it as much, I don't think, anymore, but they had a lot of times where there was just the one character who was there to get drunk.
Yeah.
In movies. And I'm like,
yeah, I like the Sleeping Beauty, and
Sleeping Beauty. You had it in Cinderella. You have a drinking scene. You have a drinking scene in Pinocchio. You have a drinking scene in I mean, doesn't Dumbo, not Dumbo, what's wrong with me? Doesn't one of the dwarfs get drunk? Dopey?
I'm not
Doesn't
sure.
Dopey get a little tipsy?
If Dopey.
But certainly in Dumbo, you do.
Yeah.
You have the whole drunk pink elephant scene. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of Disney movies that have the one drunk character, which is very confusing.
Is and Uncle Waldo's right up there, because I was just trying to remember. It's like, okay, I'm really telling myself, okay, pay attention, because I draw a blank, like, okay, so what happens? Do we ever meet up with the Gabble sisters again? We don't. They don't show. They
just help them get to Paris, I guess.
Yeah, and they get to the Le Petit Cafe.
And they get to Paris really fast, considering they're there. Freaking geese. Yeah. So obviously Edgar did not drive very far.
Yeah.
Into the country.
The countryside. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know. It's just bizarre. The drunk. Maybe I should do an article about all the drunk Disney characters.
Drunk Disney. Yeah, these random drunk Disney characters.
Yeah. But so then we have the whole scene where he arrives, and there's this long scene between Edgar and Lafayette Napoleon in the hay bales.
Oh,
and
and another one. It's just like,
yeah, there's some amusing physical comedy there, but just not enough, and it's just not funny enough, and it's not my favorite.
Yeah,
and it does go on too long. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And so they decide to stay over at the Scat Cat in his gang house, and this is where this movie gets pretty dicey. Is that like every member of this band is a racial caricature?
Exactly.
I don't
think it. Yeah, definitely wouldn't fly today.
Yes.
But yeah,
especially the Shungun Cat. He sings Shanghai, Hong Kong, Egg Foo Young, fortune cookies all are always wrong. Which isn't the best.
Yeah. And these cats are all standing on two legs for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why it makes no sense when she's like, we've got the band down below in the house. Like, what?
And they're, in hats and glasses and stuff. And whereas, with Duchess and the kittens and Thomas O'Malley, they're on all fours. They're being cats. Anyway, it's really a kind of a trippy scene. Although this is my favorite song from the film.
Yeah, the song is amazing.
Yeah,
it's really good. I also really like the way they use color when they're dancing. The lighting and color look is very unique, and I like it. It's
so fun. Yeah, I agree. It's in fact, I was just wondering about how long it would take them to animate that sequence, because the characters keep changing color too. Mm-hmm. And anyway, it's pretty fun. It's yeah that everybody wants to be a cat. I enjoyed it enough that I kind of I guess I don't know if I necessarily let it go, but I guess it is what it is. And then also, the cats are in just this horribly rundown building, like horribly enough that as they're like panning on the piano in the final verse or whatever, the piano goes through all like 4 floors.
Yeah,
this is one messed up building.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's I mean, I guess it's the only place where they could where if we lived in a world where there were anthropomorphized cats, they probably would have to live in a place like that.
They're living in a place like that in Paris.
I don't know.
Yeah. Rent's expensive in Paris. We know.
Yes. Or they could be like in the circus or something. But yeah, and so then there's a scene where Duchess and O'Malley are they're on the roof, they're looking at the moon, and you see them talking about whether she should go back to the madam, and he doesn't understand why she wants to, and then you see Marie, and she says, well, we almost had a father.
That's what I wrote down in my notes. Like, we don't know what happened to their father.
Yeah.
Could someone please explain if this is even something we should worry about?
So then they end up at the house, and that's when Edgar tries to he bags them up, and so Roquefort is trying to save the day, and he's sent by O'Malley to the Scat Cats and to get them, and so Edgar is going to mail them to Timbuktu.
Mm-hmm. I think this scene is maybe the only one where I felt a sense of tension.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's short-lived. Yeah. But to me, it's the only one, because it's just like, oh yeah, I mean, Duchess, they're in this crate and it's not looking good. Right. I think that they're gonna get sent away. So for me, that's the only one. The whole film, I haven't felt anything up until
Right. Yeah, and
what about for you? Does that?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. And there's some funny physical comedy.
Yeah,
in
it's
this
funny because
scene.
everybody pitches in. Frou the horse, who I love.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then when Scat Cat shows up and everybody's trying to take down Edgar, and that's pretty fun.
It is pretty fun, and he ends up in the
yeah. Edgar gets his just desserts. He's the one who gets locked in the case.
Right.
Yeah.
And sent to Timbuktu.
Yeah.
And you see the madam saying, "Oh, if only Edgar had known, he probably wouldn't have left."
Right.
So he gets removed from the will.
And she, and she's none the wiser, and I guess it's just as well, right? That Edgar was the mastermind behind.
And she says that she's made the house a home for the alley cats of Paris, and you get a reprise of Everybody Wants to Be a Cat with them playing and singing and stuff.
And which is fun. But then also I'm thinking, oh dear, because Madam was already kind of a crazy cat lady, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then she really turns into it.
Like she doesn't even give it a second thought before. Yeah.
She's got a full-on crazy cat lady. Letting them all come in. Yeah. Her beautiful house.
Right. So that's the movie. And like I said, I think it's harmless. I do really like the songs. And I think that it's nice to have a nice cat movie for cat owners. But it's definitely, I did actually forgot to write down. It's definitely in the lower quadrant of my ranking. What about you? Where did you have it ranked?
I have it ranked at number 40. It is in between Bolt at 39 and 2011's Winnie the Pooh at 41.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think, again, sentimental childhood movie that I still think I love the art, and there's enough fun stuff in it to kind of keep it almost at the border between the middle and my lower tier, but still not the greatest.
Yeah, I have it at 46, and I have Oliver and Company at 47, and I have The Three Caballeros at 45 in my the last ranking that I did. So yeah, there we go.
Excellent.
And that was in 2017. So there's some missing in my ranking when I did this last one. But so there we go. And so let's talk about some of the, like I said, a big variety of opinions we got.
Yes, I can't wait to hear what your awesome followers have to say about this film.
Yeah. So Hayden, he says, I loved it as a kid to the point where I had to buy a new VHS because I wore the first one out.
Oh,
doesn't quite hold up now.
Yeah.
And Richard Southworth says, I watched it a lot when I was younger, like most Disney films, but it's quite bland looking back. The scenes with the dogs are my favorite. And so then Georgia Speech, she says, you don't wear a fuzzy costume with a headpiece not shown in 85-degree weather unless you love the movie. Marie is the best. I love them all, and I still regularly sing Thomas O'Malley's song, P.S. Edgar is the worst. So I'm not sure if she meant the worst, or like a bad guy worst, or the worst character worst.
Or the worst character worst, yeah. Maybe the former. But,
Animated Addict says, though I will concede it's not a great film, I do still like and get enjoyment out of it, even though the story feels like an inferior version of 101 Dalmatians and the villain is exceptionally weak. But it's held up by memorable characters, good animation, and catchy songs. Christian Paystarp says, it's fine. I like the animal characters a ton, but it suffers in terms of plot and especially culturally speaking. Dalton Carter says, definitely one of the weaker films from Disney Animation, but thankfully it's still an enjoyable one thanks to its likable cast of characters, great animation, and a solid soundtrack courtesy of the Sherman Brothers. I'm also a big cat person, so that helps too. Kyle O, he says, considering this entered production after Walt's death and the animation department was being drained once again with a ton of the money they used to spend on features going into Walt Disney World. Instead, Aristocats, at least being entertaining, is quite something. We have Alex Klepp. He says, really boring and uninteresting plot. The characters don't do much for me, especially the kittens, whom are really annoying, and I don't really care for the songs. Scales and Arpeggios might be my least favorite Disney song of all time. Not a fan. You have Nadia Raquel. She says, I love it. We love quoting it to the kids. The whole mess of what Edgar thought and did to the journey of Duchess meeting Thomas O'Malley and coming back home. MC Myers says, the villain plot are so forgettable that it should have embraced what really works, which is the cat's world and the implied caste system between breeds. A more diffuse structure, Sword in the Stone, might have emphasized its charm instead of feeling like a lesser Dalmatians. And then Jim Griswold, he says, I really love it. One of my cats is actually named Toulouse after this movie. The Asian cat part is regrettable, but other than that, I just love that movie. I'll do one more. Mike Cobella, he says, as cat lovers, my sister and I just eat up this movie. One of the Disney films we watched the most, definitely. It's just very fun, feel-good little adventure with such likable characters. We named our very first cat Toulouse, but we also had a cat named Marie. And one more, actually. Matthew Latham, he says, 101 Dalmatians did it better, although who knew how lucrative Marie would be for Disney? Also, Scales and Arpeggios and Everybody Wants to Be a Cat are bops. Sometimes the music and characters a movie brings to the table is worth a not so great one. And so, yeah, there's a bunch more, but you see, it's all over.
Yeah, all over the map. That's really great. Yeah. It's so interesting, right? That this film would really, just have all these different opinions about it, and a lot of them. You know, as you said, that's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, I was not expecting. I thought I'd get 4 or 5, but I mean, I got way more than that.
Got a bunch.
So very good. Thank you so much to everybody who responded. Really appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely.
And,
thank you.
And you can find us on Twitter at Disney Talking. So make sure you keep that feedback in. And so let's see what we got next.
All right. The random number generator.
Yes. 101 Dalmatians. We haven't done that.
How awesome is that?
Yeah.
We go to the one where all this stuff actually works well.
Yes. Yeah. So Yay. That will be really fun. I love 101 Dalmatians so much.
Love it. I really love that film. Yeah. That's going to be fun. Okay. Happy news.
Yes. Very good. So let us know again what you think of Aristocats. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. And thank you so much, Stanford. This was really fun.
Oh, this was so fun. Yeah.
And how can people find you on social media and all that?
I'm on Twitter at Stanford Clark, and I have a movie podcast and blog at moviespastandpresent.com.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, I'm at the Hallmarkies podcast, where we have been doing some really good stuff over there. And it's really cool because since we we're all getting kind of stir crazy, all of us co-hosts, everybody's been contributing and doing their own episodes, doing their own stuff. And it's just been really fun. So definitely check out Hallmarkies podcast. And we'll have all those links in the description. And we'll be excited to talk about 101 Dalmatians. So
yes, absolutely.
Please leave your ratings and reviews if you're listening on iTunes, and please give us thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're listening on YouTube. And please consider becoming a patron. We have try to have a ton of fun in our Facebook group and other perks and giveaways and other stuff. And then we also have our merch store, which has hashtag animation nerd t-shirts. So check that out, and just lots of fun stuff going on. And we so appreciate your support. And we'll talk to you all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.